and welcome to my life. I do this every time. I do this every time. I'm not entirely ready and I start the live. But anyways, guys, today I went to the library as if I don't have like 7 books yet to read. Oh my goodness, guys. Look at my cat. He's wilding tonight. Morty, ¿qué tú haces? It is always whenever I want to film or go live on YouTube or anywhere that he starts going crazy. It's like he knows. Pretty sure he knows. He's AI coded. But anywho, there's nobody on live yet, so the person watching this at the moment should be somebody that came after the live was done. But anyways, I went to the library today and I got 4 books. I got How to Know a Person, because these are books that are on my wish list on Audible, but I don't know. I prefer a hardcover book. I hate reading a book off a screen. Like, I'm trying to spend time off the screen, not on it. And audiobooks, I get distracted, bro. Even if I'm driving, I get distracted. So yeah, I got this one, good book. I also got Cómo ganar amigos e influir sobre las personas. How to gain friends and influence people, but they only had it in Spanish at the moment. And then Atomic Habits, Hábitos Atómicos, they also only had it in Spanish. And luckily for me, I speak both languages. I am bilingual, if you will. And we're gonna be reading Surrounded by Idiots today. Let me adjust my back. I gotta be comfortable, man. Already, like, reading out loud makes me uneasy, if I'm being honest with y'all. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it because if I keep waiting till I finish reading a book to make a YouTube video about it, you know how many books I've finished reading and I still haven't made a YouTube video about it? As soon as I'm done reading it, I have this, like, is it imposter syndrome? Where I learn something new and I'm like, I know nothing. I'm so ignorant. I must keep reading until I know everything about that subject. And it just keeps on going and on going. So, I go live. Maybe one day I'll go back to my life and put a chapter so you guys know when the knowledge is. But welcome, our first viewer of the day, night. We're just gonna start reading, so you got here just in time. Luckily for you, I jab a lot. Well, how are you doing? You can tell me. Oh, they left. To be fair, when I go on somebody's life and I'm the only person there and they talk to me directly, I freak out and I leave. So I should probably stop doing that to people and act like I don't see them. I don't see them there. It's a weird experience, honestly, to go live on YouTube, because on TikTok when I go live, I get like around 300 followers, up to 3,000 sometimes. So followers, not followers, just viewers from the For You page, and they stay because of it. On TikTok, I have fun. I dance. I promote products from TikTok shop. I talk smack, if you will. And yeah. But on here, let's just get started. Surrounded by idiots. There are 4 types of human behavior and how to effectively communicate with each in business and in life. By Thomas Erikson. An international bestseller that has sold more than 1 million copies worldwide, Surrounded by Idiots shares a simple, revolutionary method of understanding the people around you that will change how you interact with everyone, from your coworkers to your spouse. Mm. Author Thomas Erikson explains that there are four key behavior types that define how we interact with and perceive the people around us. Understanding someone's pattern and behavior is the key to successful communication. The so-called idiots in our lives are most often simply people who have a different behavior profile and style of communication, because at the end of the day, it's not just about communication, it's about comprehension. There's no point if you communicate something to somebody, like, if they don't understand you. You know what I mean? You're kind of wasting your time there. Edison breaks down the four kinds of behavior types: reds, who are dominant and commanding; yellow, who are social and optimistic; greens, who are laid back and friendly; and blues, who are analytical and precise, and explains how to identify and interact with each type of person. Instead of being bogged down with overly technical categorizations, the simple four-color system allows you to speedily identify a friend or coworker and adjust how you speak and share with them. Surrounded by Ideas is full of practical information for interacting with people based on their color profile, including the strengths and weaknesses of all the profiles, how to give positive and negative feedback to each, and the best way to word an email when writing to someone with a different profile. I mean, who doesn't want to communicate more efficiently with the people around them, get their point across easily, and also make people feel comfortable? Because there's nothing more annoying than a person that expects everybody to understand them and doesn't even try to adjust the way they speak. They think that is fake to talk to a person a certain way and another person a certain way. No. If this person is comfortable, if this boss prefers if you talk to them in a friendly way, but this boss prefers if you talk to them in a professional way, you're gonna talk. Each person is different. You gotta adjust the way you conduct yourself around others depending who you are around, because it's very egotistical, it's very narcissistic, like it's very selfish for you to carry yourself how you want to be carried and expect everybody to love you. Everybody's different. And it's not like you want the approval and the acceptance and love of everybody. I mean, to be fair, who doesn't want that? Not that you're gonna pretend to be something you're not that you're gonna, I'm not talking about like changing your morals or putting your morals at risk, nothing crazy. We're just talking about how you communicate. Not what you believe in, not who you are, not what you like or dislike, just how you communicate who you are, what you want, what you need with the people around you. Because if you go to a person that's red and you talk to them as you would talk to a person that's blue in an analytical way, and this person is more straightforward, they're not gonna understand you. Okay? And you just wasted your time and theirs. Do you wanna waste your time and theirs? No. Then follow along. I think these yellow lights bother the viewers. Let me turn them off. There we go. The blue ones are calm. Because somebody mentioned something on TikTok Live, and I don't want to have something in the background that's annoying the viewers. They're not going to want to stay. Sorry, I'm not weird. I was just realizing that that's maybe the reason why my two viewers left. I failed as a teacher. Yeah, I wanted them to stay for the knowledge, and they couldn't even stay because their eyes were hurting. Oh well. It's off now. I'll see if I can delete the beginning part of this video later. Okay, so they explain it better later, but unfortunately it's backwards on the screen. But as you can see, there's arrows going up, down, and sideways on both. I'm gonna read what they say. So we got blue, red, green, and yellow. These people up here are task-oriented and issue-oriented, the analytical and the aggressive types. These two down here, green and yellow, are relation-oriented. Don't exactly know what they mean by that, so we're gonna read about it and we'll learn. Then blue and green are introverted, passive, and reserved. That's what these two have in common. Whereas the red and yellow, even though they are oriented in different ways, they're both extroverted, active, and implementer. Whatever that means. Like, I know what it means, but I don't know what they mean in this concept. Like, I know what the word itself means, but I don't know what they mean with it in this context. Okay, next we got complementary combinations, task-oriented and issue-oriented, blue and red. So then green and yellow are relation-oriented, complementary combinations, and natural combinations. They have both combinations. Interesting. Whereas the top two only have complementary combinations. Again, I don't know what that means, but they talk about this on page 191. So by then, we're gonna know what they're talking about. Blue is challenging combinations as well as yellow. Okay, wait, I think they mean that blue and yellow are challenging combinations and green and red are challenging combinations, which would make sense because these two have certain things in common and these two have certain things in common. Just like these two have certain things in common and these two have certain things in common. But green and red, blue and yellow, So if your boss is a blue person and you're a yellow person, it's gonna be complicated to talk to them if you both communicate in the way that you are. So whoever is trying to communicate properly should learn how to communicate with this person and vice versa so they can get along in the workforce. And if your boss is not interested in reading this book, but you are because you want to make your interpersonal relationships easier and your life easier, and just understand what people around you are telling you mean. Because what if somebody's telling you something with like good intention, but because you're a yellow person per se, and if you told somebody that, you would mean it in a bad way because that's how you would talk if you were upset. Doesn't mean that this blue or red person is talking to you in a way that they're trying to make you upset, because in their language, that's a way to be helpful. So just being able to understand what people mean will save you from a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of heartache, resentment even. Okay, let's find out more qualities of each one. Let's start with red. Red people are aggressive, ambitious. I think I am aggressive as well. Oopsies. Oh, sorry, my nose itches. I have allergies. And I'm trying to prevent myself from doing that one noise everybody hates. Strong-willed. Ah, sorry guys. Goal-oriented. Pushing. Problem solver. Pioneer. Decisive. I can be a little indecisive. I feel like some people can have combinations of other ones. Hey, that's just what I feel. We're about to find out if I'm right. Innovator. Impatient. Yes to both. But then again, I feel like impatient doesn't always have to be something bad. Being impatient can be good because if you're too patient, if you think that you need somebody to do something with, there's a chance you do. But let's say you don't. Because a lot of times when we want to pursue something, we're scared to do it. So we put up excuses like, for example, if somebody wants to be a YouTuber, like I used to want to be since I was 16 and I'm pursuing now at 25, I used to be like, no, I don't have cameras when I got a camera. No, I don't have lighting. No, I don't have the perfect background. No, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes when people like that trying to put excuses like, I need this person, like me, for example. Let's just me, for example, because it's looking like I'm a red person. I'm sitting there like, I need this person to help me for this ad. They're busy. I'm impatient. I do it without them. I get things done. I don't wait on nobody or anything. But it's not always a good thing. So it's about knowing when to wait and when not to wait. Well, sometimes it can be a good thing. Controlling. Well, see, that could be a bad thing, right? But if you're working with somebody who doesn't want to take control, then it can be a good thing. Also, I think it's better to be controlling than be controlled, but that's just me. Some people prefer to be controlled. And yeah, convincing, good, good. You can make your case. Performance oriented, don't know what that means. Powerful. Results oriented. Facts, factual. Initiator, speed, timekeeper. No comment. Intense, opinionated, straightforward, and independent. Yes, sir. Now let's talk about yellow, which from the first thing I just hovered over, I'm pretty sure I'm yellow as well. Talkative, enthusiastic, persuasive. Please let me know which one you qualify. After I'm done reading all these, let me know in the comments. Are you red, yellow, green, or blue? Let's get to know each other. I promise I'm not weird. I'm just a little nerdy, nerdy, nerdy. Okay, let's not bring it to sing song. This is not a musical. Creative, optimistic, social, spontaneous. See, this one thing I felt, before I even read these characteristics, I felt like you could be more than one. And I feel like I'm red and yellow. Expressive, charming, full of vitality, self-centered, and if it bugs me a little bit, it just means it's true. Wait. My allergies. Sorry. Sensitive. Every time my mom does me dirty and I tell her how I feel, she calls me sensitive, and I just wanna. It's true. Adaptable, but I'm learning to be cool with it, honestly. Like, yeah, I'm as sensitive as I am intelligent. Sue me. Adaptable. Inspiring. Needs attention. Why are you calling me out like that, book? Encouraging. Communicative. Flexible. Open. Sociable. Imaginative. And easygoing. I'm all of these things as well. Wait, I do have to say that I have borderline personality disorder. So there might be a chance I relate to all of these. And there is a way that you could be all of them if you have a little disorder in your brain. Oops. But yeah, if you just relate to one, that's okay. That just means you're a normal person. And it's easier for you to figure out yourself, so congratulations. Next, green. Patient. Relaxed. Self-controlled. I'm not green. Reliable. For the most part. If I'm having a panic attack, no, but if I'm okay, then yes, you can count on me. I will be there. Not on time, but I'll be there. And I'll solve your issues, for sure. Composed. Yeah, I'm composed outwardly, but I'm not composed inside. So I'm not really composed, I just pretend to be. Does that count? I want to be. Loyal, yes. Modest, no. Well, all the things I'm saying they're part of the green. I'm just saying what I relate to. But I'm not saying that that's not part of the green. It is. Understanding. Lengthy. Don't know what that means. You mean like like tall? Green people are tall? Bro, the green person is like the shortest one on the cover. But I don't know what they mean by lengthy. We'll find out later on. Stable. I am not that. Prudent. Discreet. I can be if needed be. Supportive. Good listener. Like, I'll listen, but I'll interrupt you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll listen to you. I will always be open to hear people vent. And I just have to bite my tongue not to interrupt. I've been struggling with that. Helpful, producer, persistent, reluctant, reluctant, thoughtful, conceals feelings. Well, if I feel uncomfortable and like I can be vulnerable around you, if I have a little fear or some sort, yes, I can conceal my feelings. Otherwise, I'm not hiding shit. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry if cursing makes some people uncomfortable. That's just how I talk. I could try to change it, and I change it in different settings where I know I shouldn't curse, like around church people, around kids, at professional events, in the workforce, when meeting somebody for the first time. But other than that, I curse a lot. Oh, around my mom, I don't curse. But yeah, well, sometimes I do. But on my YouTube videos, because I don't want to not be monetized, I don't curse. Why do I just bleep it out? But I can't bleep myself out on live. So apologies in advance if people choose not to watch me because I curse. Sorry. This me. Considerate and kind. So I have a few green characteristics, but I am not a green person, I guess. But lately, I've been diving into these characteristics. These are like, some of these are new. So, and somebody was telling me that my aura is green. So, like, maybe I've been leaning into that recently. Let's find out about blue. Last but not least, we got conscientious. I might be that. Systematic. I might be that too. Distant. I hate to admit it, but I can be distant. Hi, whoever's here, I'm just discussing the 4 types of people, and I'm on blue. If you want, I could tell you the other ones, or so you can tell me which type you are. I'm green. Oh, they left. Anyways, I'm gonna just keep going. See, I told myself I wouldn't interact with people right away. I didn't feel comfortable. Whatever. Correct. Yeah, I'd be correct most of the time. Conventional. Conventional. Hold up. Suddenly, I don't remember what that word means, and I have the urge to know right now. So I'm gonna turn that phone on and I'll look it up, but let's keep reading. Blue people they seem insecure. Interesting that they say seems insecure because they could just not be insecure, but just appear to be. Objective. I can be objective. Structured. I want to have a structure, but I don't have one. Analytical. I am that. Perfectionist. I am that. Needs time. Yes. Reflecting. Yes. Methodical. Yes. 6 facts. Yes. Quality oriented. Yes. Structurizes. I think I know what that means, so yes. Follows rules, yes. Logical, yes. Questioning, yes. Meticulous, yes. Reflecting and reserve. So I'm red, yellow, green, and blue. Interesting. So, blue. Let's talk about the positive things of each color and the negative things of each color. So, like I said, we have red, yellow, green, and blue, the 4 different types of people. Me, I'm red, yellow, and blue. But to be fair, I have borderline personality disorder, so that's why I have so many different types of personalities combined in one. And I have a lot of green qualities, but not as much as the other ones where I have everything. So the blue one, they're analytical. And the negative things of being analytical is that you can be critical, indecisive, narrow-minded, fastidious, and moralizing. Yes, I am all those things and I hate it. I don't know if because I'm a Libra, but I am indecisive. Positive things of the blue personality would be that they are diligent, thoughtful, serious/persistent, demanding, and methodical, which I also am. So that's great, you know. All these personality types come with good, positive things and negative things. So appreciate your good ones, work on the negative ones. The green one is stable, It's a grounded, stable person. However, the negative things of being like that is that you are stubborn, uncertain, you compliant, dependent, and awkward. What do they mean by compliant? Hold up. Gotta look these things up. Oh, it's turning on. The phone's turning off. Compliant. What do they mean by that? Compliant. Somebody that just goes with the flow. Somebody that complies with what's gonna happen, even if it doesn't align with their goals, their purpose. That could be bad. That could be bad. Dependent, like codependency, is not good because you don't get to be yourself or do you unless you find somebody that sees through that and tries to figure you out and figure out what you really want to do and convinces you to do it. Like you don't have like a strong will. Well, positive things of being a green person though is that you're supportive, respectful, obliging, reliable, and pleasant. That's nice for the people around you for the most part. Not that much for you. Okay, let's go to red, dominant types. The negative things about that is that you can be pushy, strict, tough, dominant, and hard. And like, not everybody likes that because it can be intimidating, it can be overwhelming, it can be too much. And a lot of times to get what you want in life, you have to be easygoing. And if you're always so like pushy and strict in your ways, you're not gonna get that many people to believe in you or to wanna collaborate. Talking to myself, yes. Positive things though, you are strong-willed, you're independent, so you get things done, you're ambitious, determined, and effective. Wow, beautiful. Now, last but not least, yellow. Yellow people are inspiring. However, this is my second biggest one. Well, in part with blue. Negative things. I don't even want to read them, but I am. Manipulative. Hot-tempered. Okay. Now I'm getting annoyed at a book. Relax. Proving the book's point. Undisciplined. I think that was enough reading for tonight. Just kidding. I want to change, but that one hurt in my chest just now. Yes, I am undisciplined. I'm not lazy. I do things, but I don't have a discipline about the way I go. I mean, look, I went and got 4 new books, while I still have 7 books to read. Well, 5 to read and 2 to listen to, but whatever. Like, I don't know, I just get bored of reading the same subject. And I'm the type of person that I want to, like, be good at everything that I'm trying to learn on. I can't just sit here and learn how to understand people without wanting to understand my childhood traumas, without wanting to understand numerology, science, BPD on its own, how to make money. Like, I have to read all these subjects at once. Like, I feel like I have to create a school schedule for myself, really. That's what I've been trying to do with ChatGPT, so that I can learn slowly all the subjects, but I'm not leaving any subjects behind because I feel like I'm missing out on some valuable information, you know, instead of just sit and skim through a book. But if the book is really intriguing like this one is, I might just like not be able to let it go until I finish it. And I have 3 weeks with these books before I can return them. So anyways, counteractive. Oh, bro, after I just said all that, I've never read this word before, counteractive, but I think it just describes what I do. Like, I do actions. No, let me look it up. Let me not talk out of my booty. Let's look these words up. The point is to learn. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment. Any definition or something you don't understand. There's no such thing as dumb questions around here. Counteractive. Definition. To act against something else, or to oppose, neutralize, or mitigate the effects of something by contrary action. For example, taking medicine is counteractive to being sick. Spending on marketing and advertising has increased in order to counteract falling sales. Oh, annul, cancel out, compensate for, correct, counterbalance, counterpoise. Huh, huh. So how would be a way that I can be counteractive? I think my psychologist told me to stop doing this, by doing so many things at once. It's like counteractive to trying to create a community. Because I could be creating a community of people that love to read for a month or a week or two, and then I switch it up to like, let's shop. And you know, people are not as multidimensional as I am, and I need to understand that. Some people just like to shop, and that is it. That is the reason for living. Some people just like to study and read and learn. That is all they do. Some people do, you know. So posting something like I've even seen it happen on Instagram. I'll post a bunch of dance videos, and I'll start going on the explore page and getting followers that love dance. But then I stop posting about dance completely for months, and I start posting about film or music. They're gonna be like, we came here to see dance, and you don't do that anymore, we're leaving. So I'm still trying to figure that out, how to be less counteractive, egotistic. I don't want to be like that. Because the ego can get in the way of things sometimes. But some positive things, inspiring. I get that a lot through social media, that I inspire people. Stimulating. That's good. In this such a boring world, in world addicted to stimulation, it's good to be stimulating. Enthusiastic, dramatic. Yes. I've been called a drama queen once or twice in my life. And outgoing. There was this other words that I wanted to look up. Methodical. What do they mean by that? Methodical. Done according to a systematically established form of procedure. Yes, I am like that. There was this other. Obliging. Make legally or morally bound by obliging. Do as someone asks. Yeah. So people that are green tend to do stuff just to please others. Damn. Apparently that's positive. Okay. Not in my eyes. That's probably why I'm not that green of a person. That's my least. But what's the difference between obliging and compliant? Let's look it up. Compliant. I thought they were pretty much synonyms. Inclined to agree with others or obey rules, especially to an excessive degree. Oh, they comply too much. Like even if something is messed up, because it's a rule, they'll do it. Like they don't have a voice of their own. Not good. Was there anything else that I wanted to look up? Any other word? Scrutinizes. Let's look that one up. I feel like I know what scrutinize is, but I want to say the full definition. Critical observation or examination. Yes, I am definitely that to myself and others. I don't say it out loud to people because I know that the only reason I'm doing that to them is because I do it to myself. And they don't need to hear that. I'm pretty sure other people judge themselves. Maybe they don't, but I just assume people think the same way I do. And if I'm already my worst critic, I'm just assuming that other people are their own worst critics as well. And who am I to add to that, you know? Conscientious. Wishing to do what is right, especially to do one's work or duty well and thoroughly. Yes, I am conscientious. Systematic. What do they mean by that? Done or acting according to a fixed plan. Yes. Distant, correct. What do they mean by conventional? Based or in accordance with what is generally done or behaved. Okay. Methodical. That's the That's the word I wanted to look up. There we go. Done accordingly to a systematic established form of procedure. Also, they keep saying the same thing. Okay, let's keep reading. I don't want to read the foreword. Don't care. Introduction. I'll read the introduction. It's only 3 pages. But first, I'm gonna snack. And turn this off while I snack. My eyes hurt. What I do for you guys. There's a weird white line on the top of my screen. And I thought it was because it was a reflection of the light. But it's just there, still. I do not know what that's about. Snacks. So good. And I already brushed my teeth, but I don't care. I'll brush them again. I was just thinking, do I have any more snacks? I have one Reese's. Okay. There we go. La 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 la. I low-key feel bad for whoever like watches this when I'm not live. They can skip through. It's fine. I don't know, bro. Part of me wants to be like, take everything super professional. But it's hard for me. I'm on the spectrum and I get overstimulated and overwhelmed easily. And this is just who I am, bro. Like, I low-key get annoyed when I watch tutorials on YouTube and the YouTubers are like talking about their thoughts about it, their experience in life, what happened last week, and updating me on their entire life. Not just in the beginning, because I can skip that, fine. But throughout the whole tutorial, like every minute, they give me a 3-minute display of their life before giving me the next step. And I'm just like, isn't this supposed to be a tutorial? I feel like tutorials should be kept short and professional, short and sweet. But if you're doing a personality video, shopping, a vlog or whatever, yeah, show your personality, whatever. But if it's a tutorial, get to the point. And then I kind of feel bad that I'm reading and I'm not just reading. I'm reading and giving my opinions. I'm reading and taking a snack break. I'm reading and deciding that I'm not gonna use the lamp anymore because it's hurting my eyes. I'm overstimulated. I just feel like the point is to get the message out there. And as long as I do that, it don't really matter how I do it. Type sheet, you know? I hope. I don't know. I just want to share the knowledge that I'm learning in real time, you know? And obviously, like, I have my podcast, and I'm going to start doing podcast videos instead of just podcast audio, because my podcast, Conscious Concubine, is available everywhere. Oh, sorry about the allergies. They get worse when I eat sweets. And here I am. But, like, I want to make straight to the forward point videos. As soon as I'm done reading this book, I'm going to make a video summing it up. Probably going to be 30 minutes long. Short and sweet. And the people that prefer short and sweet content, they can go there. But on life, we just kick it. And even though right now, it might only be zero viewers, 1, 2. In the future, it's going to be more. I already know. It takes time and patience. And at the end of the day, whether I went live or not, whether people came and watched me or not, I was still going to read this book. So it's not like I'm going out of my way. And I like to read books out loud sometimes because I'm not just reading, learning visually, reading with my mouth. Like, I'm also hearing it. It's like 3 ways of taking it in. And I found that by doing it that way, I don't have to reread to understand. Because when I read quietly, I read and I read and I read, and I'm like, huh? But when I read out loud, I get it. I was about to play a song, but I can't. I'm gonna copyright it. I used to hate peanut butter my whole life. Now I love it. Okay, guys. Let's get back into the book. Let's go right into the introduction. Bro, did I just put chocolate on this? No, it doesn't smell like chocolate. Must have already been there. Okay, let's start. The man who was surrounded by idiots. I was in high school when I first noticed that I got along better with certain people rather than others. It was easy to talk to some of my friends. In any conversation, we always found the right words and everything just flowed smoothly. There were never any conflicts, and we liked one another. With other people, however, everything just went wrong. What I said fell on deaf ears, and I couldn't understand why. Pause. I want to go sideways for some reason. It's funny he says that because growing up in high school, I felt like I understood everybody and everybody understood me. And I could talk to a person, a nerd, for example. I'm a nerd, and I'm also an athlete, and I'm also the class clown, and I'm also a diva. I was everything because I got BPD, borderline personality disorder. I have multiple personalities, and it just makes sense how I could get along with everybody. They will move me around class, and it wasn't like I pretended to get along with everybody. I genuinely like all these different subjects. I genuinely do all these different things. So I could find always something to relate to, and I'm very well spoken. Like, I can speak to any person, and we can be like this. Like, we've been friends for our entire lives. So it's probably because I got BPD, but this person has one specific, the person that wrote the book has one specific personality type. So that's why he could get along with one specific type of people. But if you learn how everybody thinks and talks, you can get along with everybody. Even if, for the people that just got here, basically there's four types. There's red, yellow, green, and blue. And you could be red and get along with everybody because you know how they communicate. Like you know how he just said that his words with other people that were not his friends fell on deaf ears. It's not that you didn't say something right or worth listening to. It's just that you didn't say it in a way that actually made sense to people. So it's good to know. So if you have a boss that's blue and you're red and you guys are about to be you can know what they mean and they can know what you mean and there can be harmony no matter what your personality type is. If you have a type, if you have a crush on somebody and they're a different personality type than you, so you're finding difficulty getting to understand you or understanding them, get to another personality type. But I got you. Okay, sorry, I jap a lot. Why was I speaking to some people so easy while others were total blockheads? Since I was young, this certainly wasn't something that kept me awake at night. However, I still remember puzzling over why some conversations flow naturally while others didn't even start. No matter how I conducted myself, it was just incomprehensible. I began using different methods to test people. I tried to say the same things in similar contexts just to see what reaction I got. Is this guy me? Sometimes it actually worked and an interesting discussion developed. On other occasions, nothing happened at all. People just stared at me. People just stared at me as if I were from another planet. And sometimes it really felt that way. When we're young, we tend to think of things very simply because some people in my circle of friends reacted in a normal way. That meant, of course, that they were automatically the good guys. And so, I assumed there was something wrong with the people who didn't understand me. What other explanation could there possibly be? I was the same all the time. Certain people just had something wrong with them. So I simply began to avoid these weird, difficult people because I didn't understand them. Then that's most people even when they're adults. Call it the naivete of youth, if you will. But it did give rise to some amusing consequences. In later years, however, all of this changed. Life went on with work, family, and career, and I continued to pigeonhole people into two groups: good and sensible people, and all the rest. The people who didn't seem to understand anything at all. When I was 25 years old, I met with a man who was self employed. Now, in his 60s, Stuart had founded his own business and built it up for many years. I was given the task of interviewing him just before a new project was to be implemented. We started talking about how things were functioning in his organization. One of the very first comments Stuart made was that he was surrounded by idiots. I remember laughing at the time because I thought it was a joke, but he truly meant what he said. His face turned crimson as he explained to me that the people working in Department A were complete idiots, every single one of them. In Department B, you found only fools who understood nothing at all, and he hadn't even come to Department C yet. They were the worst of all. They were so weird that Stuart couldn't fathom how they even made it to work in the mornings. 1221 from Chicago. Hey, hello. Angel numbers. Hope you're enjoying the read. I'm only in the introduction, so if you stick around, you're gonna learn something cool. But he's just telling us how he decided to start the book of four different types of people in this world. The more I listened to him, the more I realized that there was something very odd about this story. I asked him if he really believed that he was surrounded by idiots. He glared at me and explained that very few of his employees were worth having. Stuart had no issue letting his employees know how he felt. He didn't hesitate in the least to call anyone an idiot in front of the whole company. This meant that his employees learned to avoid him. No one dared to have one-to-one meetings with him. He never got to hear bad news because he would often shoot the messenger. At one of the offices, a warning light had even been mounted at the entrance of the building, discreetly placed above the reception desk. The light went red when he was there and turned green when he was away. Everybody knew about this. Not only staff, but even clients would automatically cast a nervous glance at the light to find out what awaited them when they stepped over the threshold. If the light was red, some people would simply turn back at the door, deciding to come back at a more opportune time. Damn, that's crazy. People under your own company, bro. That's crazy. But that's how much he like intimidated them and he couldn't like communicate with them. And instead of like trying to fix his communication, he just called everybody an idiot. Okay? As we all know, when you're young, you are full of great ideas. So I asked the only question I could think of. Who hired all these idiots? That's funny. I knew, of course, that he had hired most of them. What was worse was that Stuart understood exactly what I had implied. What I implicitly asked was, who is actually the idiot here? Stuart threw me out. That's funny. Later on, I was told what he really wanted to do was fetch a shotgun and shoot me. That guy definitely has a red personality type. This incident got me thinking. Here was a man who would soon retire. He was obviously a proficient entrepreneur, highly respected for his sound knowledge of his particular line in business, but he couldn't handle people. He didn't understand the most critical, complicated resource in an organization, the employees, and anyone he couldn't understand was simply an idiot. That's how most people think. Since I was from outside the company, I could easily see how wrong his thinking was. Stuart didn't grasp that he always compared people to himself. That's what people do. Oh my god, me too. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, we're getting onto something with this book. His definition of idiocy was simply anyone who didn't think or act like him. Narcissistic much? He used expressions that I also used to use about certain types of people. Arrogant windbags, red tape's jackasses, rude bastards, and tedious blockheads. Although I never called people idiots, at least not so they could hear me, I had obvious problems with certain types of people. It was an utterly appalling thought to have to go through life constantly thinking that I was surrounded by people who were impossible to work with. It would make my own potential in life so unbelievably limited. Oh my god, guys, I'm so glad I'm reading this book because as a person on the spectrum, I have a difficulty understanding people and knowing how to deal with them. But in my life or business as a artist, I have to collaborate with people. I can't make a film by myself. I need to learn how to talk to people. Like when I did my first music video ever and I saw the behind the scenes footage of the way I talk to people, I hated myself. So I'm glad. I try to see myself in the mirror. What kind of company is it? Do they have degrees? The company that they were talking about in this book? I don't remember because they didn't talk about that. They were just saying how the guy that wrote the book, when he was 25, he went to interview a guy who was in his 60s that was an amazing entrepreneur, probably didn't even finish college, and he built a successful company. They don't specify. He built a successful company, but his employees didn't like him. He thought all his employees were idiots just because he didn't understand them. And he was the one that hired all these idiots. They were not idiots, you just didn't know how to communicate with them, to the point that they put a secret warning light to warn people when he was in the vicinity to avoid him. He never got a good relationship with his coworkers because he never knew how to communicate with them, you know? And that's just the point. They didn't talk about the specifics of the company. But that's with anything, bro. With anything in life. Like, even if you're successful, you can still struggle to make better business deals. You can still shoot yourself in the foot simply because you think that just because you don't understand somebody, that they're useless. What? It's useless to not be able to understand people. There's so many people that are not gonna speak the same way you speak. And there can be many misunderstandings. A person that, let's say, for example, a red person can say something in a good intention that if the green person said it that way, they meant it in a bad way, right? So they could be trying to criticize this red person, but because they speak like that when they're happy, they take it as good, you know? They don't take it personal. They're like, oh, this person's trying to help me, look out for me. But if you understand the type of person this is and how they meant it, you can better watch your back, and vice versa. This person could be telling you something that they mean with great intentions, but you could take it as passive aggressiveness. You could misinterpret it because if you spoke like that to somebody, you would mean it in a bad way. You know the amount of misinterpretations and miscommunications you could not have in business and personal and loving relationships by just understanding the type of person you're talking to? A tremendous amount. Amount. So, back to what the author Thomas Erikson is saying. I tried to see myself in the mirror. The decision was easy to make. I didn't want to be like Stuart. After a particular toxic meeting with him and some of his unfortunate colleagues, I sat in the car with a lump in my stomach. The meeting had been a total disaster. Everyone was furious. There and then I decided to learn what is probably the most important knowledge of all: how people function. I would be encountering people for the rest of my life, no matter what my profession was, literally what I just told you. And it was easy to see that I would benefit by being able to understand them. I immediately began to study how to understand people who initially seemed so difficult. Why are some people silent? Why do others never stop talking? Me. Why do some people always tell the truth while others never do? My ex. Shade. It's good to know, actually. I want to know. Because the thing is, like, when we don't understand people, we tend to take their actions personally. And most of the things people do have nothing to do with us. And while we're over here stressing and wondering what we think we do to deserve this, what did we do to cause this? Most of the time, had nothing to do with us. And while we spend all this time worrying, we just spend all this time just working on ourselves. Or by understanding people, we can just know how to deal with people instead of crying or blaming. And if you tell somebody, oh, which I've done, guilty as charged, you lied to me because you don't love me or you don't trust me. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it has nothing to do with that. And instead of accusing them and putting ideas and things that are not true, and when I tell you that's not the case, I trust you in my life, and you're like, nah, you guys are not understanding each other. But if you understand why they lie and the anxieties that led them to do that, you know how to deal with their anxiety so that they don't lie. You know what I mean? Oh my God, my fucking mind is being blown. I'm so glad I got this book today. Okay. Where did I left off? Okay. Why do some of my colleagues always arrive on time while others rarely manage to? And even, why did I like some people more than others? The insights I gained were fascinating, and I've never been the same since I began this journey. The knowledge I acquired has changed me as a person, as a friend, as a colleague, as a son, as a husband, and as the father of my children. Who doesn't want to become a better person? This book is about what is perhaps the world's most widely used method to describe the differences in human communication. Because it's not just about communication, it's about comprehension. This method is called the DISA, D-I-S-A, an acronym that stands for Dominance, Inducement, Submission, and Analytic Ability System. Okay, wait, I don't know what they mean by inducement. That's the first time I hear that word, so let's look it up really quick. Inducement. A thing that persuades or influences someone to do something. Okay, a fancy word of influencing people. for influencing people. So what is it again? Dominance, inducement, influence, submission, which is the opposite of dominance, and analytic ability, the ability to analyze. These four terms are the primary behavior types. Oh, yeah. Dominance is red, inducement is yellow. Yeah, because they were saying the qualities of yellow is you want me to read the qualities of all of them for you again? Because they were like in the cover of the book. I can read them again for you if you like. Uh, Inducement is like influence. Most influencers are like yellow. Submission, green people are very go with the flow, compliant, and then analytic people are blue. Now I'm following. Okay, bet. Appreciate you. Okay, so the primary behavior types, which describe how people see themselves in relationship to the environment. Oh. Each of these behavior types is associated with a color: red, yellow, green, and blue. This system is also commonly called the DISC system, where the final letter of the acronym stands for compliance instead of analytic ability. I have used variations of this tool over 20 years with excellent results. Oh, so this guy knows what he's talking about. But how do you become really, truly proficient at handling different types of people? There are, of course, various methods. The most common method is to research the matter and learn the basics. But learning the theoretical part doesn't make you a world class communicator. It's only when you begin using this knowledge that you can develop real and functioning competence in the field. When you gain wisdom, because wisdom is knowledge in action. Just like learning to ride a bike, you have to get on the bike first. Only then you realize what you need to do. Since I began studying how people function and painstakingly strove to understand the differences in the way we communicate, I've never been the same. I'm not as categorical anymore, judging people just because they are not like me. For many years now, my patience with people who are the complete opposite of me has been far greater. Thank God I need patience. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I never get involved in conflicts, just as I wouldn't try to convince you that I never lie. But both these things happen very seldom now. Okay, period. I have one thing to thank Stuart for. He awakened my interest in the subject. Without him, this book would probably never have been written. What can you do to see? Negative experiences can bring amazing outcomes. It's just about what you decide to do with what life throws at you. Just because something negative happened, it doesn't mean it was really negative. Just because a door was closed doesn't mean it wasn't a blessing in disguise, protection. So you just gotta God life gives you lemons, make lemonade. God life gives you oranges, make orange juice. Don't complain. This guy took optimism to a whole new level. What can you do to increase your knowledge about how people relate and communicate? A good start may be to keep reading this book, the whole book, not just the first 3 chapters. They probably put a lot of all the info. This is probably one of those books where they put all this info condensed in the first 3 chapters and then they elaborate, because that was oddly specific. With a little luck, in a few minutes you can begin the same journey I began 20 years ago. Holy, when was this book written? I'm sorry, my ADD needs to know, when was this book written? Because that's 20 plus the years since this book was made. And the fact that it took him 20 years to write this book and we get to read it in less than a week is insane to me. I love books. This was made in 2019. 25 years ago, bro. 25 years ago, this guy started working on this. I love books. I love learning from other people's mistakes. And my own as well, but I promise you will not regret it. One thing to note, to simplify reading this book, I have chosen to use him and he consistently when I refer to examples not associated with any specific person. I know that you have enough imagination to insert a her or she in your task where this may be appropriate. Ah, okay, period. Period. Let's begin. Number one, communication happens on the listener's terms. I've been trying to tell my mom this. It's not about how you communicate. If you're around somebody that communicates the same way as you communicate, period, be yourself. Not saying that communicating differently means you're not being yourself, but if you're around somebody that's analytical and you're dominant, communicate like an analytical. If you want to actually communicate with that person, you have to change. If you want to speak to a person that only speaks French and you speak English and French, would you speak to them in English or French? Exactly. Carry on. Does that sound strange? Let me explain. Everything you say to a person is filtered through his frames of reference, biases, and preconceived ideas. What remains is ultimately the message that he understands. For many different reasons, he can interpret what you want to convey in a totally different way than what you intended. What is actually understood will naturally vary depending on who you are speaking to, but it is very rare that the entire message gets through exactly as you conceived it in your mind. It may feel depressing knowing that you have so little control over what your listener understands. No matter how much sense you would like to knock into the other person's head, there's not that much you can do about it. This is one of the many challenges of communication. You simply can't change how the listener functions. However, most people are aware of and sensitive to how they want to be treated. By adjusting yourself to how other people want to be treated, you become more effective in your communication. Pow. Like I said, it's about understanding, not communication. You could bring the whole sense of the world to people like you if you're red to red people, if you're yellow to yellow people, and etc. But not to the rest, unless you learn to treat them how they like to be treated. Why is this so important? You help other people understand you by creating a secure arena for communication on their terms. Then the listener can use his energy to understand rather than to consciously or unconsciously react to your manner of communicating. You're facilitating them to understand you. Less room for miscommunication and misunderstandings. All of us need to develop our flexibility and so be able to vary our style of communication, adapting it when we speak to people who are different from us. Here we find another truth. No matter what method you choose to communicate with, as an individual, you will always have to be in the minority. No matter what kind of behavior you have, the majority of people around you will function differently from you. It's true, because if you're red, there's more combined, there's more yellow, green, and blue people around you than red by itself. So everybody, no matter who you are, you have to learn how to be flexible in your communication. No matter what kind of behavior you have, yeah, you can't just base your method of communication on your own preferences. Flexibility and the ability to interpret other people's needs is what characterizes a good communicator. Knowing and understanding another person's style of behavior and method of communication will result will sorry, my eyes was hurting. Will result in more educated guesses about how a person may possibly react in various situations. This understanding will also dramatically increase your ability to get through to the person in question. No system is perfect, the other subtitle. Let me be clear about one important point. This book doesn't claim to be totally comprehensive with respect to how we as people communicate with each other. No book can do that. Because the number of signals we constantly transmit to those around us wouldn't fit into any book. Even if we could include body language, the differences between male and female dialogue, cultural differences, and all the other ways to define variations in communication we wouldn't be able to write everything down. We could add psychological aspects, graphology, age, and astrology and still not get 100% complete picture. Interesting. So all this, this is me talking. So all these different subjects, like, yes, read this book, but also if you like moving to Thailand and you're from America, learn how people in Thailand communicate, their mannerisms, their difference in body language. It's also important to do body language. Like after I'm done reading these 4 books to you that I got, I'm gonna get a book on body language and mannerisms. That's very important. Then I'm gonna get one for money, etc., etc. Because, like he said in this book, then I could do graphology in another book and get the best book of astrology and so on and so on. And with all these different topics and books combined, the more you add, the more you can understand the people around you. And if you can understand people around you, you can manipulate them better. Not in a bad way. Not every manipulation is evil. I read about that in some book recently. I think it was the art of seduction. I'm actually listening to it. I was listening to it for 30 minutes before I got on live, because I cannot listen to a book for too long. I can read a book for long, but listening, I just got 3 months for free on Audible, but it's been 3 months since that expires, so I've been paying for it. So I'm forcing myself to listen to the books because I've been paying. Anyways, sorry. According to the American Journal of Business Education, funny how I just mentioned that the next book is gonna be business, more than 50 million assessments have been made using the DISA tool. And yet, even with all this information, communication remains a fascinating and puzzling topic. People are not Excel spreadsheets. We can't calculate everything. We're way too intricate to be described in full. Even the youngest child is far more intricate than anything that could be conveyed in a book. However, we can avoid the most. So you're trying to take over the world? You know it. You know me so well. You probably don't even need to know the info in this book. You know things. Funny. However, we can avoid the most blatant blunders. However, we can avoid the most blatant blunders by understanding the basis of human communication. Like, yes, mistakes can be made, but by knowing this information, no grave mistakes will be made. That's good enough for me. It's been going, the next subtitle. It's been going on for a while. We see what we do, but we do not see why we do what we do. Thus, we assess and appraise each other through what we see that we do. Okay, that was a riddle. I'm gonna read it again. Oh, I'm gonna adjust my posture real quick. And put the heater a little hotter. I'm freezing to death. Excuse me. That's the noise that I wasn't trying to make earlier, because it scares people. Okay. We see what we do, but we do not see why we do what we do. A lot of our actions are subconscious. Thus, we assess and appraise each other through what we see that we do. Ah, makes sense. I'll explain. Basically, and I used to say this to my ex so many times, I don't care about your intentions, I care about your actions and your results. Like, I don't care about intent, I care about implications, you know? And that's how humans are. Human nature is like, they don't see why you did what you did, they see what you did. So you could have tried to, I saw in a show the other day that this person was trying to hurt her best friend, and he ended up helping her, and the friend was grateful. But if she had realized the true intentions behind it, she wouldn't be so happy. Whereas there's other people that like try to do something good and then they fail, and or they make a mess of things, and then the other person gets mad at them because they assume that they meant to make a mess of things. So, wow. Those words come from the psychoanalyst Carl Jung. Different behavior patterns are what creates dynamism in our lives. When I refer when I refer to behavior patterns, I don't just mean how a person acts in a single instance. In parentheses, it says his actions, but rather the whole set of attitudes, beliefs, and approaches that govern how a person acts. I need water. Oh my God, it's so hot. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, guys, if you could give me a little like, so it could help the algorithm. YouTube let know that at least some people fuck with me, even if it's just two. That'll help me a lot to like bring more people to join us. Thank you. Where was I? I don't just mean how a person acts in a single instance, his actions, but rather the whole set of attitudes, beliefs, and approaches that govern how a person acts. There's three things that make a person act the way they act. We can recognize ourselves in certain behavior patterns, but other forms of behavior we neither recognize nor understand. Besides, each of us acts differently in different situations, which can be a source of either joy or irritation for those around us. Though individual actions can, of course, be right or wrong, there is really no pattern of behavior that is right or wrong. Thank you for the like. Interesting. So yes, there's some actions that are messed up. Like whatever reason that person in that TV show decided to betray their best friend, whether it was jealousy, whether it was fear that she was losing him, I mean her best friend to the guy she was gonna marry, whatever emotion, perspective, attitude, motive made her to sabotage her best friend's marriage, doesn't excuse the fact that the action itself was wrong. But no specific pattern or behavior can be right or wrong. Interesting. There is no such thing as a proper behavior or incorrect behavior. You are who you are, and there's no point in wondering why. Then that kind of gave me a slap in the face because I'm always trying to figure out why I am the way I am. You're fine no matter how you're wired. Well, that's beautiful. That's reassuring. No matter how you choose to behave, no matter how you are perceived, you are fine. Within reasonable limits, of course. If you're a sociopath, a serial killer, I don't know. But that goes into action. If you feel sociopathic tendencies or psychopathic tendencies, but you don't act on them, then it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, that's just who you are. Like, you can't help who you are. You can just understand yourself. And if you want to change things about yourself that you do, your actions, like get better habits, start going to the gym, whatever, you can do that. But you can't change who you are. All you gotta do is embrace it and love it and be compassionate with yourself and learn what will help you be comfortable with who you are, you know? Within reason, in a perfect world, it would be easy to just say, I'm a particular kind of person and it's okay because I read it in a book. That sounds crazy. That's just, in a perfect world, it would be easy to just say, I'm a particular kind of person and it's okay because I read it in a book. That's just how I am and this is how I act. That last part's crazy. There's some people that are like that though. They're the shittiest person ever. And they're like, this is who I am. I can't change. Actually, you can go to therapy. You can read a self-help book and learn to change. But what do I know? Some people just don't like growing or evolving. Sure, wouldn't it be great not to have to mishandle your own behavior? To always be able to act and behave precisely as you feel at the time? You can do that. You can behave exactly as you wish. All you have to do is find the right situation in which to do so. Because you can't always act the way you feel. It's not always the appropriate time or place, and our emotions are fleeting. A lot of times they're not based on facts. And if you are always acting so emotional, you can mess up really good relationships and things just for acting out. There are two situations in which you can just be you. The first situation is when you are alone in a room. That's one of them. Then it doesn't matter how you speak or what you do. It doesn't hurt anyone if you scream and swear, or if you just want to sit silently and ponder the great mysteries of life, or wonder why fashion models always look so mad. In your that's random. In your solitude, you can behave exactly the way you feel. Simple, isn't it? The second situation where you can completely be yourself is when all the other people in the room are exactly like you. Damn, that's very unlikely. What did our mother teach us? Treat others as you would want to be treated. Excellent advice and very well intentioned. And it works too, as long as everyone is just like you. Damn. That was great sarcasm. Kinda hurt my chest a little bit. But no, if this was my book, I would literally highlight that. Just the first thing of the book I would highlight. Treat others as you want to be treated. Excellent advice and very well intentioned, as it works too, for as long as everybody is just like you. Oh my god, I want to take a picture of this to send it to my friend. Boom. You can't treat people how you want to be treated. Because I want to be treated like a queen. But I can't treat everybody that I meet on the streets like that. Because if people are giving me 10% of their energy, I'm not going to give 200 of mine. I'm not going to deplete myself for somebody that wouldn't give that same energy in return. Things have to be fair and balanced. You treat somebody how they would like to be treated, as long as it's not depleting you and that person is not mistreating you. Because if the person is mistreating you, don't even bother to try to mistreat them back. Just move along. You'll find your people. Even people that don't understand you or are not the same type of person as you, as long as they respect you, it's fine. It's much better than a person that's like you and disrespects you. Uh, all you need, all you need to do, this guy is funny. All you need to do is make a list of all the people you know who believe, think, and act exactly like you in all situations. That doesn't exist. I'm gonna show you right now. Now just give them a call and start hanging out. I'm getting a headache. Maybe I'm dehydrated. I haven't drank that much water today. We're finishing the whole book tonight. You want to? Fuck it. I've been insomniac since I've been insomniac since I stopped smoking. So until I get sleepy, which probably because I'm talking to you, I'm so grateful for you being here. I don't feel lonely. And I'm glad you're enjoying the book. I love that I'm actually reading to somebody, because the past two lives that I did this, I was reading to nobody. And I felt lonely. And with this light on, I won't fall asleep. In any other situation, it might be a good idea to understand how you are perceived and to learn how other people function. I don't think I will make headlines by saying that most people you meet aren't like you. Damn. It's true. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's true. It's time for a reality check. Even for me, because I like to... Most of my life, I was like, I don't give a fuck how I'm perceived. I'm just be me. I'm gonna talk like me. And if people don't like it, whatever. I don't wanna be around people who don't like me for me. But it's not about that. You can be your authentic self while expressing yourself in a way that people understand you. Because most people are not you. They're not gonna understand you. And it's very entitled of you and me in the past. We ended this today. Well, as we learn, we live and learn. But for me to just expect people to understand what I mean when I say weird shit. Words can have incredible power, but the words we choose and how we use them vary. As you have seen from the title of this book, there are different interpretations of, yes, you got it, words. And when you use the wrong word, well, maybe then you're an idiot. Surrounded by idiots, or not. That's the next subtitle. What does this actually mean? As I was writing, the following analogy hit me. Behavior patterns are like a toolbox. All types are needed. Depending on the occasion, a tool can sometimes be right and sometimes be wrong. That's what you need to understand how everybody behaves and learn to behave in all the ways. A 30-pound sledgehammer is great for tearing down walls, but it's hardly the thing if you want to hang a picture in the foyer. Some people are opposed to the idea of sorting people into different behavior types. Ah, I'm not anymore. I used to be. Maybe you believe that you shouldn't categorize people in that way. Yeah, I feel like it would be very manipulative of me. But it's not. You're just learning about people. Like, relax, not that deep. That it's wrong to pigeonhole people. What is pigeonhole? Is that the thing? Ah, I know. The thing on the door that you look out. It's a little hole, but then you see them through a little hole. However, everybody does it. Perhaps in another way than I do in this book, but we all register our differences nonetheless. The fact remains that we are different, and in my opinion, pointing that out can be something positive if you do it in the right way. Improperly used, every tool can be harmful. It's more about the person using it than the tool itself. Ah, that will be the second thing I will highlight in this book. Good to know. It's good to know manipulation techniques. It's good to know all these things just so that you know when you're being manipulated, just so that you can manipulate somebody to buy in your product. Not necessarily to harm somebody, to use somebody, but to get across what you need. Now what? What are you saying now to? You have to elaborate. Boss Mars. Not all manipulation is bad. Example. One time I was in a girls' trip. It was 4 of us. We were about to get kidnapped. But in the moment, the girls couldn't realize what I was seeing. And the way that I was expressing it was not getting through to them. That's a peephole? Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look it up then. Okay, but let me keep with my analogy. So basically, the way I was speaking with the dominant type that I am, one of these people was this person, the other 2 people were this person, and I was communicating like this person. So I had to switch my vocabulary to make these people understand that we were in danger. That's a form of manipulation. I manipulated them into following my instructions to safety. And once we got there, they all thanked me. But if I went all in my high horse, manipulation is bad, we would all probably be dead right now. Because we later found out that around that area, hundreds of girls went missing. And the people that owned that Airbnb didn't, and they were squatting there. And they weren't even Puerto Ricans. This was happening in Puerto Rico. They were Mexicans. They weren't even from there. They pulled up, squatted, and started stealing girls. So if I didn't use some of manipulation technique that I previously had learned, I wouldn't have been able to convince them or speak in the way that they would understand me. So not all manipulation is bad. It's how you use it and what you're using it for. But now that you're saying that, let me look up what pigeonhole. Pigeonhole. A small recess for a domestic, no. A small compartment. Oh, so to put people in boxes. Okay, got it. New thing I learned. Thank you for correcting me. However, everybody does it. Wait. Improperly used, every tool can be harmful. It's more about the person using it than the tool itself. This book is your introduction to human behavior and dialogue. The rest is up to you. Damn. This book in the wrong hands. Parts of what you are going to read I have gathered from TTI Success Insights. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Soon Gelberg and Edward Levitt for so generously sharing both their experience and their training materials. Cool. Another title. No matter how strange it might seem, in theory, every kind of behavior is normal. We're normal in our own different ways. Normal behavior is relatively predictable. Every person reacts in a habitual manner in similar situations, but it's impossible to predict every possible reaction before it happens. It's a part of a pattern. Fuck, I hurt my eye, now it's twitching. It hurts. Great. It's a part of a pattern. We often react in consistent patterns. Therefore, we should respect one another's patterns and understand our own. It's changeable. We should learn to listen, act, speak openly, and reflect in order to do what is relevant right now. Everyone can adapt. So basically, normal behavior is relatively predictable, is part of a pattern, and is changeable. It can be observed, is understandable, is unique, and is excusable. So the part that says can be observed says we should be able to observe and consider most forms of behavior without being amateur psychologists. Everyone can take note of the people around them. It's understandable. We should be able to understand why people feel and do what they do. Right now, everyone can think about why. It's unique. Despite the conditions that we have in common, each person's behavior is unique to them. Succeed in your own conditions. It's excusable. Dismiss personal jealousy and complaints. Learn to have tolerance and patience both with yourself and with others. Nice. Now we're in chapter 2. Why are we the way we are? Where does our behavior come from? Why are people so different? Search me. Very briefly, it's a combination of heredity and environment. Even before we're born, the foundations for the behavior patterns we will exhibit in adulthood have been laid. The temperament and character traits we have inherited affect our behavior, a process already begun at the genetic stage. Exactly how this works is still a bone of contention among scientists, but all are in agreement that it does come into play. Not only do we inherit traits from our own parents, but also from their parents. Also, in varying degrees, from other relatives. At some point or another, we have all heard that we speak or look like an uncle or aunt. My brother looks a lot like my aunt. There's something in my eye. Ugh. The hell? Sorry. Every time something like this happens when I'm alive, I'm like, that's the devil. He don't want me to teach you that stuff. As a child, I resembled my uncle Berto. Something to do with my red hair. To explain how this is genetically possible would take a tremendous amount of time. For the moment, let's just establish that this inheritance lays the foundation for our behavioral development. Dude, the way I act is a lot like my aunt, not like my mom. We have completely different personality types. It's crazy. What happens once we are born In most cases, children are born impulsive, adventurous, without any barriers whatsoever. A child does exactly what he wants. The child says, "No, I don't want to," or "Sure, I can." He is immersed in the thought that he can manage just about anything at all. This kind of spontaneous and sometimes uncontrolled behavior is, of course, not always what his parents wished for. Excuse me. Then, hey presto, what was once an original pattern of behavior begins to transform, in the best/worst case scenario, into a copy of someone else. How are children influenced? Children learn and develop in multiple ways, but the most common is by imitation. A child mimics what he sees around him, the pattern of the same sex, often becoming the model for imitation. This is clearly not an exclusive yeah, this is clearly not an exhaustive study on how the process works, and this book is not about how we influence our children. Next subtitle: Core Values. My core values are found deep within me, values so deeply embedded in my character that it's almost impossible to change them. These are things I learned from my parents as a child or that I learned in school when I was very young. In my case, it was different variations of study and do well in school or fighting is wrong. The latter, for example, means that I've never laid hands on another person. I haven't fought since third grade, and I seem to recall that I lost then. She was really stung, he says in quotations. He fought a girl and lost. No shame, I fought guys and won. Another important, it's just funny. Another important core value is that all people are of equal worth. True. Because my parents demonstrated this to me during my childhood. I know this is deeply wrong to judge a person based on his or her origin, sex, or color. All of us carry many such core values. We know instinctively what is right and what is not. No one can take these core values away from me. Next subtitle. The next layer is my attitudes. Wait, I didn't even say the title. Attitudes and approaches. The next layer is my attitudes, which are not exactly the same thing as core values. Attitudes are things I have formed opinions about based on my own experiences or on conclusions I have drawn from encounters in the latter part of my schooling, high school, college, or my first job. Even experiences later on in life can form attitudes. A relative once told me that she didn't trust salespeople. She's definitely not alone in having strong feelings about salespeople, but in her case, it resulted in comical practices. She couldn't buy anything without returning it: a sweater, a sofa, a car. The buying process was endless. Every fact had to be examined and explored. No matter how much research she did beforehand, she always wanted to return her purchases afterwards. That's so funny. So her core value and her experiences with salespeople and having to return things made her not like salespeople or trust them at all and have to do her own research. That's not a core value. This is something that, from her experiences with salespeople lying to her, she adapted and said, "I don't like salespeople." But she wasn't born saying, "I don't like salespeople." She wasn't taught that since a young age. So that's the difference. So there's this ball at the center. We got core values. Then we have attitudes. Then we have core behavior, moderated behavior, and environment. I guess this is who we are. Whoever's here, thank you for being here. I'm sorry that you missed the beginning of the video. But basically, we're talking about the 4 types of people and how important it is to learn to communicate in all ways, because there's not a single person in this planet that is like you. There's a bunch of people that are red, if you are red, and they're like you in that way, but everybody's patterns is different. And if you communicate with somebody but they don't understand what you said and you're always having misunderstandings, it's not, when you communicate with people, it's 10% about you and 90% about them, because you want to communicate with them and you want them to understand. You already understand what you're trying to communicate, so why communicate the way that you would understand and not the way that they would understand? Also, I would really appreciate you guys like the video to help me with the algorithm if you guys like the content. And thank you for being here. Okay, Let's continue. Once I had observed the pattern, I asked her why she did this, and she explained the reasoning behind her attitude. 85% of all salespeople are swindlers. Explaining that I too was a salesperson had little effect. To this day, I don't know if I belong to the 85% or if I can count myself among the fortunate 15%. The important thing is that an attitude can change. My relative had probably been badly fooled by a number of times and therefore learned to distrust salespeople. However, if she had a number of positive experiences, her opinion would change. Okay, so you can change your attitudes, but core values are harder to change. Like, for example, like a girl that says, I hate men because she's always been wronged by men, but suddenly she meets a guy that treats her like a princess. She's not gonna say she hates men anymore. See? Another subtitle: The results. Both my core values and my attitudes affect how I choose my behavior. So you can see, values, attitudes, combined, they address your behavior. Together they form my core behavior, the real person I want to be. My core behavior is how I act in complete freedom, without the influence of any external factors at all. You probably already see the issue here. When are we ever completely free from external influences? When I discuss this question with groups of people in different contexts, we all usually agree only when we're sleeping. I'm weak. But people are different. Some don't care. They are always themselves because they've never reflected upon how they are perceived. The stronger your self-understanding is, the greater your probability of adapting to the people around you. Damn, I used to think that like caring about how you're perceived was like stupid and bad and it meant that you didn't have a strong will to be who you are. But no, caring about how you're perceived is caring about the people around you. You want these people to understand where you're coming from. You want these people to not be offended by what you said because you didn't mean for them to be offended. If you meant for them to be offended, then sure, by all means. If you don't care if you get that job, sure, by all means. If you don't care, isn't like you care what people think about you to the point that you're not gonna be yourself. But if you're trying to accomplish a certain goal and acting this way will deviate from your goal for your own benefit, you're gonna want to act a certain way for that time being. Nothing wrong with that. But people are different. Some don't care. Okay, yeah. The stronger. Okay, next title, subtitle. How do others really perceive me? The people around you most often see your moderated behavior. You interpret a specific situation and make a choice about how to act based on that evaluation. This is the behavior that others around you experience. It's all about the mask you wear to fit into a given situation. We all have several different masks. Having one at work and one at home isn't unusual, and another one for visiting the in-laws, perhaps. This book is not an advanced course in psychology, but I am content to establish that we interpret situations differently and act accordingly. Consciously or subconsciously, surrounding factors cause me to choose a particular course of action. This is how we act. Look at this formula. Oh yeah, so core behavior is how you act when you don't care. Moderated behavior is act based on your environment. And then that's how the environment perceives you. So behavior equals F parenthesis P times SF. Behavior is a function of personality. Behavior is a function of personality and surrounding factors. So it's not like your personality is not there. It's just there's a time and a place for everything. So behavior, how you behave, is when your personality meets the surrounding factors and you act accordingly to that. Behavior is that which we can observe anything that's going on in the brain and how you're perceiving all that, what you put out is what people observe. Personality is what we try to figure out. Why did that person do what they did? They did that, but why? Surrounding factors are things that we have an influence on. Just like surrounding factors influence us to act a certain way, when we act a certain way, we influence our surroundings. It's a hand-in-hand thing. Conclusion, we continually affect one another in some form or the other. The trick is to try to figure out what's there under the surface. And this book is all about behavior. Chapter 3, An Introduction to the System. Finally! This said it was page 12 and 13, so we finally got to the first thing. At the end of this book, you will find a description of the background to how the DISA system emerged. But since you probably want to dive into its most interesting elements, how everything works in practice, you can just read on. Otherwise, you can always go directly to page 228. Ah, that's so cool. Anyways, okay, so we got blue, red. I'm gonna show this one because you can see better, but it's the same chart. Blue, red, green, and yellow. It has arrows going up and down and sideways. We have the blue and red. The thing that they have in common is that they both are task-oriented and issue-oriented, whereas green and yellow are relation-oriented. We'll dive into it in a second. Red and yellow have something in common, which is they're both extrovert, active, and implementers. And then blue and green have in common that they're introverted, passive, and reserved. Okay, so let's learn about each one. Blue is analytical. They have a slow reaction. They have a maximum effort to organize, minimal interest in relationships, historical time frame, cautious action, and tendency to avoid involvement. They're more antisocial. Red types, they're dominants. They have quick reactions, notice, not actions. Maximum effort to control, minimal interest for caution in relationships. They just blurt things out. Current time frame, so they act in the moment, they live in the moment. They're most likely to be present, whereas analytical blue, they have a historical time frame, meaning they're looking at the past to base their present and their future. Reds have a direct action, and they have a tendency to avoid involvement, just like blue. Now, green people are stable. They have a calm reaction. Interesting, so blue is slow, red is quick, and green is calm. Calm reaction, maximum effort for connection, minimal interest in change. They're very stubborn, I said that in the beginning. Current time frame, they're also very present, like reds. And they're supportive action, and they have a tendency to reject conflict. And then last but not least, yellow. Yellow is inspiring. They have a rapid reaction. What's the difference between quick and rapid? Aren't they synonyms? Synonyms. Okay, wait. I thought those were synonyms. I'm sorry, guys. I'm dyslexic. Oh my god, I'm writing synonyms. Definition. Happening in a short time or a fast pace. Okay, so reds act quick, but like right away. And it might take time, but they react right away. But yellow is fast with it. I don't know if that makes sense. They have a maximum effort to involve, opposite of red and blue. They live in the future time frame. They're dreamers. They're, what do you call those people? They're manifestors, they're creators, they have impulsive action and a tendency to reject isolation. They don't like to be alone. Yes, these people are very social. I said it on the beginning. As you can see, there are 4 main categories of behavior types. Oh wait, let me put the phone down a little. As you can see, there are 4 main categories of behavior types, each of which is associated with a color. This book is about how you can recognize them. Quite soon, as you start reading about the different colors, various faces will come to mind. Sometimes, maybe even your own. About 80% of all people have a combination of 2 colors that dominate their behavior. Approximately 5% have only 1 color that dominates their behavior. The others are dominated by 3 colors. So I recognize that I was dominated by 3 colors. Can the viewers tell me what colors you guys feel more leaning towards? I'd like to know. Me, I'm red and yellow and blue. And then in a way, yellow contradicts in some of these categories, some of these characteristics. Yellow contrasts blue and red completely, and in other ones, yellow and red contradict blue completely. So ironic. So if there's 85% of people that either have 2 or 1, I'm in the 15% that have 3. Hey, I'm special. Actually, people that only have 1 are more special because they're 5%. They're more rare. They're more a rare breed. A person that only has 1 is a very rare sighting. Then there's people that have 3, and then there's people that have 2. So most people have 2. Interesting. Throughout the book, I focus on the single colors individually because they are the fundamental components of a person's behavior. It's like a recipe. We need to understand all the ingredients before we bake the cake. Entirely green behavior, or green in combination with one other color, is the most common. Oh, most people are green. That's true, because when I was reading those informations, I realized a lot of people are green. And even in my girls' trip, most of them were green. 1 yellow and 1 red. But most of them were green. Interesting. Entirely green behavior or green with something else is the most common. The least common is entirely red behavior or red behavior in combination with one other color. So me, because I'm red with yellow and blue. Crazy. Oh, we have more. Oh, now I get to read this for you. Like I was going to read later, but it came up. Okay, so red people are, I'm just going to list the adjectives. Aggressive, ambitious, strong-willed, goal-oriented, pushing, problem solver, pioneer, decisive, innovator, impatient, controlling, convincing, performance-oriented, powerful, results-oriented, initiator, speed, timekeeper, intense, opinionated, straightforward, and independent. Let me know if you guys relate to any of these colors. Yellow is talkative, enthusiastic, persuasive, creative, optimistic, social, spontaneous, expressive, charming, full of vitality, self-centered, sensitive, adaptable, inspiring, needs attention, encouraging, communicative, flexible, open, sociable, imaginative. See, that's what they're in the future. They're creating things. And easygoing. Green, on the other hand, is patient, relaxed, self-controlled, reliable, composed, loyal, modest, understanding, lengthy. I don't know what they mean by that. I'm gonna look that up right now. That's one of the words that I forgot to look up earlier. Lengthy. Of considerable or initial length. Tedious. Oh, lengthy is somebody who's tedious. They are earth signs. It's giving earth signs. Stable, prudent, discreet, supportive, good listener, helpful, Producer, persistent, reluctant. Thoughtful, conceals feelings, considerate, and kind. Yeah, earth signs conceal their feelings. And last but not least, blue, conscientious, systematic, distant, correct, conventional, seems insecure, meaning they might not be, but they appear to be, like nerds. Objective, structured, analytical, perfectionist, needs time. Usually people like this cannot adjust easily. Reflecting, methodical, seeks facts, quality oriented, scrutinizes, follows rules, logical, questioning, meticulous, reflecting, and reserved. Many people you meet possess qualities that you sometimes wish you had. You may even feel jealous of these people. They easily master things that you struggle with. Maybe you'd like to be more decisive like Reds. Or maybe you wish it were easier for you to interact with strangers like Yellows. Possibly you wish that you didn't stress so much, that you could just take it easy like Greens do. And perhaps you wish that you could keep your schedule in better order, something that's natural for Blues. Naturally, it works the other way as well. You are going to read things that will help you realize that you too boss others around a bit too much, just like Reds tend to do, or that you talk way too much, something that Yellows do. It might be that you take things way too easy, not getting involved in anything, the Green's weakness. Or you're always suspicious of everything, seeing risks everywhere, just like Blues. And I'm also like Yellow, and I'm also like Reds. I'm all three, except Green. Here you can learn to see your own pitfalls and how you can take appropriate measures to get around them. No matter what you learn about yourself and others, take notes, underline things and engage with the material. Nice. Now, we're going to talk about chapter 4, red behavior. How to recognize a real alpha and avoid getting in his way. Oh, I'm an alpha? Time is money. Bro, for real, I relate to that. Hold on, I'm just reading the titles real quick. Tell me what you really think. Yes, I'm for real. Yeah, red people like to know that. I know because I'm a red. Can I win something? In that case, I'm in. Yeah, if it's not worth it, we're not doing it. Time is money. Fact. The sky's the limit. Or is it? Fact. I think like this. Let me tell you how things really are. We're very honest. Only dead fish go with the flow. They definitely are strict. It wasn't better before. Onward and upward. Yes, I'm really good at moving on. Conclusions on red behavior. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna read this for you guys because I wanna know. And then it's yellow behavior. But I have to pee. I hope you're still here when I come back. I'll be quickly. But I've been drinking so much water. And I have to pee. Take a break to analyze everything I just said before we dive into the red character. Please tell me what type of character you think you are. Be right back. I am back. I'm gonna eat this little bit of snacks. By the way, guys, I will be reading every day. I'll try to read every day. Something comes up. Because I haven't edited my YouTube video for this Sunday yet. So I'm probably gonna edit all day tomorrow and not read. But I'll try to take at least an hour to read to you guys. But just turn on your notifications for me, because I don't have a specific time where I do this. Again, it's my personality trait. It's really hard for me to put up a schedule. Maybe in the future, hopefully in the future actually, when I have a team and they help me do everything, they can help me get on time and have a schedule where I go live. But until then, if things thrown behind, it's my own fault. Anyways, let's keep reading. Let's learn about the red type. What should we do? We'll do it my way now. Oh my God, that is so me. This is the behavior type that Hippocrates, in his theory of human temperament, called choleric. You guys know about those type of personality types? Nowadays, you might call a red person bold, ambitious, driven, but also potentially hot-tempered, rash, or dominant. You quickly notice a red person because he doesn't make the slightest effort to conceal who he is, who they are. A red person is a dynamic and driven individual. They have goals in life that others may find difficult to even imagine. Literally, somebody today told me that I dream and I have goals, so many goals, like they're so huge that as if I was gonna live forever. Sue me. I'm a dream big, baby. Since the goals of the red personality type are so highly ambitious, achieving them seems to be impossible. Reds strive forward, always pushing themselves harder, and they almost never give up. Their belief in their own ability is unsurpassed. They carry inside them the firm belief that they can achieve anything if they just work hard enough. Me as fuck. People who have lots of red in their behavior are task-oriented extroverts, and they enjoy challenges. They make quick decisions and are often comfortable taking the lead and taking risk. A common perception is that Reds are natural leaders. These are people who willingly take command and go to the fore. Gotta keep my hands so I can spread the sheet. Don't wanna get Cheetos on this rented book. Wait. Every time I get up, I gotta fix this. There we go. Where was I? They are so driven that they will get through despite any obstacle in their path. Their disposition is ideal in competitive situations. It's not unusual for a CEO or a president to have lots of red in his behavior. This form of competition is present in everything Reds do. To say that they constantly want to challenge and compete is probably not entirely true. But if a chance of winning something arises, why not? It's not like red people are trying to compete with everything and everybody, but if the chance arises, they're gonna take it. Also, I feel like something went on my screen and I saw it at the corner of my eye, and I feel like my phone might die, so I'm gonna plug it in. Yes, it was dying. Oh my goodness, it was saying 80%, but now we're good. Yeah, like they're not gonna try to compete with everybody. They're just doing their thing. But if there's a competition, they're gonna join. The exact nature of the competition is unimportant. It's the competitive element that keeps Reds running on all cylinders. Pell, one of my former neighbors, liked competing so much that he developed entirely new interests just to compete. Me. I like working in the garden, and so I spent quite some time doing so. Pale didn't like gardening, but when he had heard people commenting on my beautiful garden often enough, he finally had enough. He started one project after another, always with a single but very clear objective: to outdo me. I know somebody like this. He confounded his wife by digging new flower beds, planting a rainbow of unbelievably fabulous plants, and cultivating the lawn to golf course standard. The only thing I needed to do to keep him going was to merely suggest that I would purchase more plants. Then he would go to the local garden center quicker than you could say bad loser. Oh my god. I have a friend like that, and I used to think that it was because she was jealous of me, but now I know it's just a personality type. It's nice to understand people's personalities. Look at that. You can also recognize reds by other behavior patterns. Who talks the loudest? Reds. Who goes all out when explaining something? Reds. Who's always the first to answer a question? Reds again. Who, during an otherwise pleasant dinner, makes categorical comments on just about any topic? Wait, who during an otherwise pleasant dinner makes categorical comments on just about any topic? And who will judge an entire country based on something he saw on television? Reds. That's hilarious. Something is always happening in the lives of red people. They can't sit still. Idle time is wasted time. Life is short. Better get going immediately. Do you recognize the type? Always on the go? So step aside. Let's get cracking. Me. Oh my god, this is helping me love myself more for some reason. Next subtitle. Tell me what you really think. Yes, for real. Reds have no problem being blunt. When asked a specific question, they often say exactly what they think without any frills. They see no need to wrap things up in a bunch of empty phrases. When a thought pops into their heads, everybody knows it immediately. They have opinions on most things, and they trot their thoughts out quickly and efficiently. A common remark is that Reds are very honest because they dare to express their personal truths to people. They don't really understand what the fuss is all about. They've only said things as they are. Me. If you need someone with extra energy, you may want to invite a red into the team or project group. They fight tirelessly along when others have already given up. If they are determined to succeed, that is, if they are, if they are determined to succeed, that is, if they don't care, then a task that has become humdrum or meaningless could be totally ignored by a red. I call this phenomenon slog or split. If the task is important enough, a red will go through fire and water to complete it. If he feels it has no purpose, into the trash it goes. Guilty as charged. Okay, red people often see themselves as driven. Okay, because there's a difference between what they are, which we already spoke about, but how they see themselves. It's different. It's different. Driven, resolute. First time I hear that word in a long time. I have to look it up again. Resol. Oh. Ah. Resolute. Admirably purposeful, determined, and unwavering. Okay. So the driven, resolute, ambitious, decisive, competitive, independent, prompt, determined, time conscious, persuasive, strong willed, and results oriented. What do they mean by results oriented? Like, for real. Tell me how you feel. Oriented. Results oriented means focusing on outcomes and achieving goals rather than the process used to get there. It's an important skill in many professions, and employers often look for results oriented employees. Okay, like don't worry about how you gonna get there, just worry about getting there type shit. I feel it. Me, bro. Like I have a mild plan, But I don't think about the plan too much. I just go and do it, and I get things done. Sorry, I'm hungry. Okay, I'm done. Next subtext. Can I win something? In that case, I'm in. So Reds like competing. They appreciate the slight antagonism that is part of being competitive and the glorious moment of winning. They even enjoy winning competitions that probably don't even exist, except perhaps in their own mind. Oh my god, I'm speaking a little too much truth in here, book. Mm. It can be passing a slow walker on the street. Oh my god, psychopath. Finding the absolutely best parking spot. I feel so good about that. They got me there. They got me there. I brag about it too. Or dominating the family game of Monopoly. When I wouldn't win that game, or when it was taking too long for me to win, I would flip the table. I'm not even kidding. Despite the fact that the purpose of the game is to entertain the kids and none of the other adults are actually competing for a red, this is all natural because he sees himself as a winner. Let me give you an example. I once worked for a company where the CEO was a red. He was energetic and efficient, and consequently incredibly dynamic. No meetings were as short and sweet as those run by the CEO, but his weak spot was the competitive element. Also, he was efficient, he would get through meetings quickly, nice. As a young man, he had played soccer, and every spring at this particular workplace, they held a soccer tournament. It was very popular even before he joined the company. Naturally, he had to take part. No other CEO before him had ever done so, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was that as soon as he got out on the field, he became a different person. On fire with his competitive drive, he flattened anyone who stood in his way. This continued for a few years until someone had the guts to tell him that he played just a little bit too rough. The game wasn't supposed to be that serious. The CEO didn't understand. He grabbed the latest flyer for the game and pointed out that it was called a soccer tournament. Tournaments are competitions, and if you compete, you are in it to win. Simple. Oh my god. He competed in traffic, on the soccer field, in business. No area was too insignificant not to become a competition. He even raced to see how quickly he could finish reading a book. What others do for relaxation, he transformed into a competition. Oh my god, me as fuck. 100 pages an hour was a reasonable pace. 100 pages an hour? We've been here for over an hour. And I'm on page 19. Oh no, that guy is crazy. But at the same time, I'm like talking about it stopping. Okay. But I'm wondering if that's actually doable, or if he's exaggerating. His wife had even banned him from playing a memory card game with his children, who were 5 and 6 years old. Since they had better memories than he did, they won most of the time. In his frustration, he intimidated them. Oh my god. Dude, they're children. Before you conclude that this guy sounds rather unsympathetic, we need to look at his intentions. This kind of intensive and competitive behavior often obsesses other people because they think it's all about dominating and suppressing others. Nothing could be further from the truth. His intentions were almost never malicious. He just wanted to win. This is one of the greatest challenges for Reds. It's not uncommon that other people feel irritated or intimidated by them because they're such powerful personalities. Later on in this book, I will share some simple ways that you can deal with these individuals. Please. Next subtext. Time is money. Facts. Quick is synonymous with good for Reds. If you are in a meeting and suddenly notice that one of the other participants is devoting his time to something completely different, it may well be a red who has lost interest. Pause, because this is too funny and I have to talk about this. I graduated from film school, right? And I thought that I had to know everything before film school when I decided. So I was all summer. Um, well, I Yeah, because I was all Christmas break learning how to edit because I didn't want to seem dumb. Because I went like as a journalist, creative writing first for the first semester, and I changed my minor quickly after less than 5 days. But it was too late to get a film class, so I had a semester. I mean, no, I had a month before my other semester started in the spring to learn everything about film. And when I got to the editing class for Premiere, I already knew everything. So I was teaching myself Photoshop. And I had my iPad on the desk and I was drawing and Photoshopping as my teacher was passing by and she looked and she just smiled and kept walking. I wonder if she read this book and understood that I had a rare personality, and if I lost interest it's because I already know what you're talking about and I can't just sit there and relearn something I already learned. No. I have to multitask. I have to always be learning. I have to. Time is money, bro, you know? That's so funny. That's so funny. If you look closer, you will realize that his thoughts are elsewhere, on the next step in the process being discussed. Facts. For example, that's even me when I take my weightlifting class, bro. I hope I don't annoy my teacher. And she just sees me as enthusiastic. I think she does. On the next step in the process being discussed, for example, because Reds are quick thinkers, they move on long before everybody else. Gang. Few things annoy Reds more than sluggishness. Facts. If a meeting or a discussion drags on, oh my god, I hate those books that like repeat the same thing 20,000 times, trying to seem smart, but you sound dumb. And you're trying to make me feel dumb by repeating the same thing over and over. Get to the point. That's why I love this book, it's getting to the point. But I'm not talking on the side. Sorry. If a meeting or a discussion drags on, he may interrupt and ask if it's really necessary to prolong the issue. We've already discussed this for 20 minutes. Get it together. It's only a few million in investments. How hard can it be? Okay. Oh my god, I'm uncomfortable. I kind of want to lay all the way down. If you think about it, they're often right. When other people may find it difficult to make a decision, Reds are prepared to make quick decisions in order to keep things moving. With a Red on the team, nothing will be discussed ad infinitum. After all, it's always better to do something rather than nothing, right? The advantage is obvious. We're talking about people who never waste time on anything that doesn't move forward. As soon as a task becomes unclear or is taking too long, a Red will ensure that the momentum is maintained and spur things along. Chop chop, done in double time. About 15 years ago, I began working for a small consulting company with about a dozen employees. It was a polished organization with a great spirit of entrepreneurship and excellent momentum in business dealings. One of the reasons why they were so efficient was because of the founder of the company was a Red. Nothing could move too quickly for Bjorn. No meeting took longer than was absolutely necessary. In my second or third week in the new job, I was sitting in a traffic jam when my cell phone rang. I looked at the display and saw it was Bjorn. I answered the way I'd been instructed to when I started at the company, with a greeting, my name and the company name. Impatiently, he interrupted me and spit out his question. Were you looking for me? Lol, that's me as fuck. Like, I don't even say hi. I just asked the question, but I know that other people don't like that, so I've been texting. I'm like, hi, how are you? Hope you're good. Question, you know? I don't even say you the question. I'm like, I texted you because I got this question, and then I say, like, ugh, it's so much work. And no, I replied, and took a deep breath, ready to say something else. I didn't get the chance. Okay, he said, and hung up. 8 seconds. Unpleasant? Well, at the time, we didn't really know each other. However, I must admit that the whole episode had me worried a little, at least on that occasion. Only 3 weeks at the company, and the big shift himself calls and sounding irritated. Damn, so if I'm straightforward like that, I sound irritated, but I'm not. That's funny because I hang up so quick, and every time I hang up, I hear the person still talking. I know my dad was a red, because he was the same way. I mean, if the conversation was over, there's no need to be on the phone still. Doesn't mean they don't care about you or they're mad. When we got to know each other and I learned that Jorn was red, I asked him why he was so abrupt on the phone. Of course, he didn't even remember the call, but he said he was probably just trying to find out if I was looking for him. When he learned I wasn't, there was no further need to talk. Wasting time on polite flowery phrases or drawn out farewells wasn't for him. And it wasn't even personal. It wasn't that he was mad. It's just that's how simple he looks like. Hey, I thought you were looking for me. I called you. You need me? No? Okay. Boom. Not that big of a deal. The fact that like he thought you knew, that he thought he needed him and called so quickly is great because he may answer, he may hang up quickly, but when you need him, he'll be there quickly. So they're reliable. So you just gotta weigh out what's, what really matters. But at the same time, here was a person with a capacity to work far more than normal. Bjorn managed to do more in an average working day than most people. He still has an exceptional ability to make the most of any free time. If he has a gap of 5 minutes in his schedule, he manages to squeeze in an email or a phone call and go through some meeting minutes. From the outside, this may seem like an unnecessary pursuit of efficiency, but I read the test inactivity. Things must happen. Add to this a sense of constant urgency, and a great deal will get done. It's crazy because lately, like ever since I started smoking like a week ago, I have been insomniac, and I just sit there and edit, or sometimes I scroll or watch a show after I've done all the things that I could possibly do in a day, or answer emails. But I decided if I haven't been finding time during the day to read, because reading is not something that I like to do for just 20 minutes. No, I can't do that. I can do oh my god, I just choked. And spicy. I can play the guitar for 20 minutes, and even though I want to for longer, since I'm not used to it's been 10 years, I gotta stop and do hand yoga. And after that, I do body yoga. And after that, I wanna eat, I can do things in increments, but reading is something that I like to sit and take time to. Whether it's at the beginning of the day, rarely, because I wake up with so much energy ready to go, very rare of me. So nighttime, I thought, instead of trying to get emails at night, which would keep my mind more alert and I would go to sleep way later than I should, why not read? Where's my napkin? Where is my napkin? Over there. And my belly hurts. It's because I put castor oil on my belly button and it creates bowel movements. It's cleansing my gut. That's what it is, okay. Next subject. The sky's the limit. Or is it? What was I saying? I don't remember. For a red, a realistic budget is a budget for cowards. Oh my god, call me out again. Call me out again. If we don't push ourselves to the breaking point, we haven't tried hard enough. Reds love difficult tasks, so their level of ambition is usually boundless. The ability to manage difficult situations and challenges is a defining attribute of red behavior. When a person with red traits set his goals, several things happen. First, he wants to know how well a specific task under the most favorable conditions could be performed. If all 19 parameters were met and we all gave it a little extra effort, the results would be phenomenal. This means that anything below that impossible level of excellence is boring. Damn, for real. Because there's at least a remote possibility of that result being achieved. Even if there's 1% that result could be achieved, if you don't achieve it, it's like, could have been better. Damn. We tend to be hard on ourselves, huh? Nothing is impossible. The impossible just takes a little longer. Me, love that for me. More than likely, it was a red who came up with that expression. Naturally, it's also about the type of project. It's not enough just to set an impossible sales budget. If a red doesn't like sales, he'll ignore the budget, since he prefers to make all the decisions themselves. They probably won't be fooled into doing something they don't feel like doing. Facts. Reds set higher demands on themselves than any of the other colors would, and they are always prepared to work hard. I wouldn't go so far as to say that no other color works as hard as reds do, but I would venture to say that a red would give anyone a run for their money. Ambition, which is intris- intris- intrinsic to reds, shouldn't be confused with a lust for power. Reds have no problem taking positions of power since they are fearless. Expressions like, it's so lonely and windy at the top, don't scare them. But for a red, power is not an end in itself. It does, however, come in handy for those who like to make their own decisions and avoid having to wait for others. A red can, in fact, be quite unassuming. It's true that he has a strong ego, but status and prestige don't have the same importance as with other colors. The reason is simple. A red usually doesn't care what others think. He's not here for their sake, he's here for his own. So even though reds are the most ambitious, they don't care about power more than the other three. Believe it or not, even greens. Because greens are like the people pleasers, but what do you think they people please and they try to be buddy buddy with everybody they meet? Not just try to communicate good with people. They try to be buddy buddy with everybody and they're complacent because they want to be liked. Because when they're liked, they have power over that person. Analytical people love power because they know things are better that way. And then, well, people that become influencers, yellow, love the power they hold over people and the influence they have over people. But red don't give a fuck about nobody else but themselves. I'ma do what I want. I'ma get that. Oh, you're gonna put me in power? That's fine. I ain't scared. Let's do this. Let's bring this company to its best. They're not necessarily thinking of how others may perceive them. Let me tell you how things really are. Another subtext. A red gives everything he's got. When he has an opinion about something, or if he wants the rest of us to agree with him, he pulls out all the stops. Once I was in a meeting with a large number of people who didn't know one another that well. It was a gathering of consultants who were meeting to discuss potential collaboration. It was in the middle of a recession, and we were all concerned about the lack of direction. While we were waiting for the chairperson to arrive, we chatted a little about everything. At one end of the table, Elizabeth, who has strong opinions about everything, in an unequivocal, unequivocal, unequivocal voice, she suddenly stated that the company was still expected to earn over 50 million a week, despite the recession. About 15 consultants, all highly trained, reflective, and intelligent people, nodded in agreement. Just imagine, 50 million per week? That's insane. While Elizabeth expanded on how the situation ought to be resolved in the consulting world, I began thinking about the figures a little bit. Not knowing where these figures came from, I remained silent. It could be true. It could also be far-fetched. I honestly didn't know. While waiting for the meeting to begin officially, I started calculating how much 50 million per week would be per year. I didn't have enough paper. After the meeting, I got the answer to my speculations. I was in a taxi on my way to my next meeting when the driver turned on the radio. In the news, it was announced that the company in question was expected to earn between 2 and 2.5 million per week. I realized Elizabeth had gotten the information from the news. Wait. I started calculating how much 50 million per week would be per year. In the news, it was announced that the company in question was expected to earn between 2 and 2.5 million per week. I realized Elizabeth gotten the information from the news. I also understood that 2 or 2.5 million per week was far more realistic than the 50 million she had referred to. But wait a minute, a little reconciliation with reality is needed here. Why didn't anyone react? No one in the room lifted a finger or called her information into question. Why? Because she sounded so convincing. Her facial expressions was definite. Her countenance was determined, and her voice did not quiver in the least when she presented her figures. Wow. See, confidence goes a long way. The way you carry yourself. That's the way Reds function. When they believe something, they let people know that this is the only truth that exists. Now, maybe there are some sticklers for detail who might claim that this is deceptive, since we now know that the company earned 2.5 million a week and not roughly 50 million. But I'm convinced that Elizabeth really believed what she said. She had things turned around, no doubt about that, and she was certainly not interested in details. But my point is that by sounding utterly confident when she declared that the company was earning 6 months' revenue per week, we all fell for it. Or, in the words of a good friend of mine, there are two ways to do this, my way and the wrong way. Sheesh. Next subtitle. It's called Only Dead Fish Go with the Flow. Reds are both groundbreaking and strong-willed. Why not also add results-oriented and decisive when we're at it? For Reds, it's not sufficient to do things like everybody else does. And just because it's tough doesn't mean we should avoid doing it. Reds aren't afraid to make decisions. When everybody else hesitates, thinking and weighing the risk, a Red makes a controversial decision. A Red's determination is usually unyielding. Once it's decided, then it's full stream ahead. Their fearlessness dares them to tackle things that make others hesitate. This is usually evident when things get rough and they are undaunted by tough choices or tricky decisions. It is no coincidence that many entrepreneurs are Reds, setting up new businesses, especially if they are based on completely new business concepts. It's in our current economy, not for the faint of heart. It's not a bad thing to have a force of nature in the driver's seat. It takes a strong mind to move things forward. Someone who understands that risks that are part of everyday life and that everything boils down to hard work from morning to night. For many years, Reds understand this from the beginning and are in no way intimidated by it. Do you need someone to pursue a problem in your apartment complex? Maybe you've gotten on the wrong side of your landlord, who says that there is absolutely nothing wrong with your heat. Or maybe the contractor who repaired the roof and installed the new elevators was negligent and won't take responsibility for it. Anytime you try to get things straightened out, you've been brought to standstill by a barricade of unanswered calls and info addresses. You're just about to give up when you suddenly remember the guy on the second floor living above you. Isn't he kind of red? Wasn't he the one who dared to go against the super at the last meeting and get the trash policy changed? Yes, that's the guy. Throw the guy from the second floor into the process, and then you'll see things begin to happen. You might have to motivate him a little, explaining that he has a lot to gain from it himself, but he will make things happen. He'll subdue the landlord and get the contractor in line, and he won't lose any sleep just because someone got angry with him in the process. Generally speaking, I read me too, same. Like if I'm doing something that's like fair and justice, and I'm not being mean about it. I don't care if you're mad that I'm confronting you. Should have done your job right. Like, I don't get offended at all. We're gonna get this done. Generally speaking, a red's strengths are very powerful. They are extremely clear in their communication, and you don't have to look far to identify red behavior. Of course, over the years, many reds learn to restrain themselves somewhat, but it doesn't usually last very long. They'll be back to full throttle and all that entails. True, true. I tried to stop being who I am and making art for like 2 years because people around me made me feel like I was too much and like I was reaching for things that I would never reach. And then I was like, man, I don't care what they say. They haven't reached their goals. What would they know? They're projecting. I'm gonna do mine. So, second to last subtitle of the red, it wasn't better before. Onward and upward. A red doesn't try to stick to his original point of view when he realizes that a better solution exists. So they're open minded. That's great. He is a quick thinker and has no problem shifting his ground at short notice. One of the advantages of this is that he doesn't reject other people's ideas if he has none himself. It's worth looking into anything that can propel development forward. Sometimes decisions can come a little bit too quickly, but he will constantly change. But the will to constantly change creates a strong dynamism and flexibility. If anything has been static for a long time, maybe a few weeks, he will turn things up a notch. Some people may find this stressful, but when you ask a red why he changed something that was actually working, the answer could well be, because I could. It's funny and true. Naturally, there are also downsides. Reds get bored with the status quo quickly, and so they change it, even if it's working. I have done that, and I have to go back what I was doing that worked. Let me write that down. I'm gonna just say it on. Just because you're getting bored of the status quo and what works doesn't mean you should stop doing it. Be diligent and do what works to get what you want and need. I reminded to myself. The people around them have no idea what will happen next. When greens and blues have just gotten used to the new organization and think they have finally grasped how things are supposed to work, well, a red will have already outlined the next step. Then my ex used to say that. I wonder what type of person he is. Oof. You guys hear that? I cracked my head. Hold up, let me do the other one. Ooh. Oh yeah, I went to the middle of my back. Last subtext of the red behavior. Conclusions on red behavior. So what do you think? Do you know any reds? Do you have any around you? If you want to get to know some famous red people, consider Steve Jobs. Gang. That's all I needed to hear. I'm in the right line of work. For the personality type, I got FDR, Venus Williams, or Margaret Thatcher. There's also Barack Obama and Mother Teresa. Gang. Oh yes, it's true. If you consider Mother Teresa's deed, the strength she needed and whom she had to deal with, the world's foremost leaders, to achieve what she did, then you realize that she was extremely determined and forceful. A typical red profile. The next one is yellow behavior, but my eyes hurt from reading. I want to keep reading. I wish I could close my eyes and scan and speak, but I'm gonna see how many pages. $267, and today we read to page 27. So let's do some math. What did I say? 200 and what? Let's do some math. 267 divided by 27. It'll take me 9 days to read this if I read at the pace that I read today. Nice. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Because the thing is, I have 3 weeks with these books, and I got 4 books. So if I read this book in 9 days, and tomorrow I will be japping less, and if I take less breaks, if I read this in 9 days, 21 divided by 9, I'll be able to read 2 books and a third. So I'll be able to read that one, the How to Know a Person, the Art to Seeing Others Deeply and Being Deeply Seen. I just really wanted to know like people, because I've learned a lot about their stuff. Naive realism, wait, how not to see a person, objectivism, anxiety, egotism. It's other subjects that are not being touched on this one, but it's the same subject, you know what I mean? With other subtext that may not be on this other book. So I'm gonna study all the best books that have to do with this subject. So at least before I go on my trip, my trip is in 16 days. So I have 16 days. Oof. I have to read a book in 7th or whatever. And I'm not taking a book on my cruise, because I'm gonna be with one of my closest friends on a cruise, and we're gonna making TikToks, and who am I kidding? I ain't gonna read, bro. I've never been on a cruise before. But what if I don't take a book and I wanna read? I'll listen to an audiobook. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to have this knowledge in my brain. I wish I could be a vampire and read it really fast, or just like eat it. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna see if I can go eat something because I'm hungry. It's 2 in the morning here. But all right, well, guys, I'm getting off live. Good night. Peace, guys.